Microphone might not be working. Hold on here. Now does the microphone work? Now can you hear me? We good? Can you hear me now? We got sound? This is what I get for changing things around. I'll talk about that in just a second, but this is what I get for messing with stuff. Alright, how are we doing, everybody? I'll go back over what I said. I said welcome to the first live stream of 2017, which is our first prime-numbered year in a while. I guess 2013 would have been the last one, 2013. So it's kind of cool having a prime-numbered year. And yeah, how's everybody doing? Hope you all had a great New Year. Hope you had enjoyable winter holidays, whatever ones you may have celebrated, if you did. But how are we doing? Can you hear me now? I'm watching this video here. It's coming. The audio's coming. Yes. Okay. Everybody can hear me now. Great. Cool. So, the reason things are weird, and the reason I keep looking down, I'm having to look at my phone for the chat, The reason things are weird is I'm working on building a new PC. I have a Mac. I love my Mac, but I've been wanting to be able to play games more with my son, and I kind of miss experimenting and playing around with other stuff. I've been on a Mac for a good 13, 14 years with no breaks, so I kind of want to try something new. So I'm building a PC. In order to have room for said PC on my desk, I had to sell my cinema display that I had, and because of that, I now have one monitor until my new monitor gets here later today, because it couldn't have gotten here yesterday. That would be too convenient. That'd be way too easy. So instead, it came here today, or it's coming here today later on. So I've got one monitor. I've got my laptop screen here that I'm looking at, and then I've got YouTube chat on my phone. So we're still streaming to Beam and Twitch and YouTube. All three services are still getting the stream, but YouTube's the only one that I can see. So if you post a question in Twitch or Beam, they will get reposted into YouTube by my wonderful friend and moderator, Ken. But it may be a minute before I see it. So, okay. So, let's talk about what we're going to do today and what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks. So, for today, I want to have, since I only have the one monitor, I want to have a bit more chill of a stream, a bit more calm and relaxed of a stream. So, Posnen Pfeiffer, one of our stream regulars, sent me this big Martyr 2's mega project list, and there is like just a ridiculous number of project ideas on here. Now, we're not going to do all of these, or even most. We're going to do like one of these, maybe two. But we'll look through a couple of these, probably some of these simpler ones up here toward the top, numbers and text, these kinds of things, and we'll play with them. We'll see what we can do as far as building the thing, and then maybe tweaking it to make it do some different things, to build some stuff that, you know, maybe it didn't plan to do. So that's cool. That'll be fun to do. And we'll try to rebuild them a couple different ways. Or my other idea was to try and do some of the advent of code, but I think we'll probably stick to the project list and we'll just build stuff there. So that'll be fun. What we're going to do over the next couple of weeks, not this week, but starting probably next week and then going on 3 or 4 weeks is, and let me know what y'all think of this. Here's my idea. I want to build a website. Not new, nothing new there. So we'll build a website, probably using Django, and the website's going to do something. I got a couple of ideas, but we're going to make the website do something. We're going to build just a simple, basic website. Then we're going to take and build an API for that site using Django REST Framework. So we have a site, we have an API, things are cool. Then we're going to take that API and consume it and use it through like a React website, like a front-end JavaScript framework site. And then, to go to the next step, we're going to, after we have the React site, then we're going to try and build like an Android app or a Windows app or a Mac app or something, React Native app, Beware app, something like that, that consumes that same API. So we'll take one site and we'll use it in 3 or 4 different ways. So does that sound cool to all of you? Does that sound like a neat project idea? Let me know in chat what y'all think of that. So I see a question here from Amar Yasser. Is Scrapey already in Python, or do I have to download it? So Scrapey is a standalone library. You will have to install Scrapey yourself, and you can do that through pip. You can just do pip install Scrapey, and you will get Scrapey. So, yeah, simple enough there. All right, so shall we start working on a project here? And while we're talking this week, while we're doing our whatever project we do, I'd love for y'all to give me ideas for the site that we'll build over the next few weeks. So my vision is that we're going to spend maybe a month working on this one project. And I'm going to have it all on GitHub. It'll all be open source, and you can all send in contributions, issues, pull requests, whatever things you want to add to it. And who knows, maybe we'll turn this into, like, we'll build one Android app, and then somebody will contribute an iOS app or a Linux app or whatever. So, yeah, I think that'll be fun. All right, so let's make a new project. And we're just going to make this pure Python, and I'll just call this Chill Week. Whatever. And we will just use the 3.5.2, not Miniconda. I want that one. Go ahead and create that. And we'll let that index, and let's go look at what this project actually is. So let's do, let's start with a simple one. Let's look at, say, I like this one. I like this change return program. I looked at that one earlier. So let's get down here to the change return program. So here's the thing. So the program is fairly simple. It's going to be, somebody puts in, like, you would enter the amount that something costs, right? So it costs $10.52. And somebody says how much money they give you. So they give you $11. And then the program comes back with what the change is. So the change there would be 48 cents, and it comes back with the number of quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies that are needed for that change, right? So we'd have 25 cents for a quarter, so we'd have 1 quarter, 2 dimes, and 3 pennies, right? So, yeah. That's the idea for the program. So let's try making that one first, because I think that one will be fun. And DP Solutions says, I'm a beginner in Python. Should I take this lecture? Yeah. I mean, we're not gonna do anything ridiculously hard or complicated in this one. We're gonna keep things somewhat simple and straightforward. So, you know, yeah, hang out. I think you'll enjoy it. So, yeah. All right. So let's talk about what this does. Input the total cost of a product, or the total cost. There we go. Input the amount of money given. Return the change required. Return the number of quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies to make the change. All right, so does that seem like a pretty simple, straightforward breakdown of this for everybody? Let's see, back to chat here. Abraham Eno says, I couldn't subscribe to Tech Degree. I don't know what's wrong, comma big, and they said my card's okay. Abraham, I would say that you probably want to talk to Treehouse support if your bank has said everything is okay. That's definitely not something that I can provide here. That's not the kind of help I can give you at this point. And then Guillermo asks, can you share the PDF? I can't do it right now due to how everything is set up here, but I do believe Ken Alger has the URL. I've sent it to him over the past week, so hopefully he will share that in chat soon, like once he hears me say this. Ken, can you share the PDF, please? And Adorable asks, Python is used for what? Python's used for a lot of things. Python's used for 3D modeling and video effects. Disney uses it, Lucasfilm uses it, Industrial Light and Magic uses it, Pixar uses it. It's used for video games. EVE Online has a lot of Python stuff in it. Instagram uses Python. Facebook uses Python. YouTube was originally built in Python. NASA uses it. Like, it's all over. So, all right. So let's do a def main here, and for now, let's just print hi. And if name is equal to main, then we'll run main. All right. So since we're doing this as a bit more chill, and it seems like we have a few more beginners in chat than normal, we'll do this one as a bit more of like a teachy thing. So we'll talk a little bit more about what's actually going on here, okay? So this if name equals main, this just makes sure that we're running the file directly. So in Python, we can run a file directly, you know, like you double-click an application on your computer and it runs that program directly, right? But we can also import a file. So if we have a file that has a bunch of useful library utilities in it, we can bring those utilities into some other thing that we're doing. If we run the file directly, it has a namespace, which is known as _name_, or dunder name dunder. And that one will be set to _main_, that namespace will be. So if the file is being run directly, I want to call this main function, which I've created up here. So def says define, main is the name of the function, and it's not taking any arguments because there's nothing inside these parentheses, or sorry, parameters. And inside there, all we're going to do is we're going to print out the word hi. So if I was to go ahead and run this, which should be, there we go. Can we run this file? Why didn't it print hi? If name is equal to main. Def main, print hi. Weird. Yeah. Right. Right. Like the two blank lines, found one, that doesn't matter though. Weird. Let's try this. Return hi. And huh. Alright. We'll figure this out later. So we want to call main. And so, blah, blah, blah. Oh yeah, Ken, you're going to have a hard time posting web links in YouTube. If you change the dot in the .com to be .dot, often that'll let you print it. Oh, haha. Thanks, thanks, MR. That's true. I did have that. This is what you get when you code first thing in the morning. It's actually not first thing in the morning. I've been up for a while, but I haven't been doing anything on my computer other than watching YouTube. So, yeah, that's the way it works. All right. So, thank you, MR, for pointing that out. So, all right. So let's take this and let's do total amount equals float input total amount, and we will of course put this into a try, and if that is an error that can't be turned, if it's a value that can't be turned into a float, then then we'll just print out an error. Bad total value. So, again, to kind of talk about this a little bit, we're going to say that total amount, we're asking for an input, and then we're going to try and turn it into a float. So a float looks like a decimal, but it isn't actually a decimal. So we will change this to actually use decimals later. So a float's not actually a decimal, but it looks like one. If for some reason it can't be turned into a float, though, then we're going to print out this message saying it's a bad value. So total amount, we'll say that it's like $2.22, so that's fine. If we run it again, and we put in that it's Apple, then we get a bad total value. All right, so we're just going to fail there. All right, so that's good. So then let's do try, and let's get amount paid, and we'll do the same thing here. But if this one's a value error, then once again we'll print bad amount paid. And so now we have the total amount and we have the amount paid. Okay. So the next step that we would need is we need to make sure that they paid us enough money to get, to pay for the product, right? So if not amount paid greater than or equal to total amount, so if they didn't pay us enough money, then we're going to do print that's not enough money. And let's do, we could call exit. But we want to do sys.exit. And then if I saved it, I should offer to import sys, but I'll just do that myself. All right, so let's try this out. So total amount, let's say it's $10. The amount paid is $5. That's not enough money. Cool, it exited with 0. Don't go too much rush. I want to go through every step. So, Sammer, I will try to go slow, but obviously on a live stream, it has to be a little bit faster than step-by-step for everyone, simply because it's got to stay interesting, right? It's got to stay excited. Excited. That's not the right word, but y'all know what I mean. And then Khalil wants to learn HTML and CSS. So this isn't going to be the place to learn HTML or CSS, but Treehouse has a lot of great resources for those. You can also pick those up from, I think it's called HTML Dog for free. HTML Dog has some cool stuff, so check that one out. There's a lot of resources out there. Just don't use W3 Schools. And anywhere but W3 Schools. Okay. So let's actually do this. Let's do try assert amount paid is greater than or equal to total amount, except assertion error. Then we'll do our print. And we won't worry about the sys.exit. That'll be okay. So what this does is this just says make sure that this line is true. So if the line's not true, then we're going to throw an error and it'll just fail. All right, so if all of this stuff is good, right? If we're good all through here, then let's do a new bit here. And what we want to do here is we want to come up with the change. So change is going to be equal to amount paid minus total amount. All right, so we know that's going to be a float. That's going to be something, right? We don't necessarily know what it's going to be, but it's going to be something. And then we want to do, let's print this out. Change is going to be something, and we'll format that with the change. And now if change, yeah, So if there's any change, so Python has a really nice shortcut where if something is equal to 0 or 0.0 or 0.00000, whatever, it's considered false, right? And if it's anything else, it's considered true. So what we can do is we can say here, if change is anything other than 0, then we're going to figure out what the change is, right? So, so let's do quarters equals change modulo 25. That'll tell us how many quarters. And then we want to do change minus equals quarters times 25. Okay? So then let's do dimes. We're gonna have to. Our logic's gonna be a little bit wrong here because we're just making sure that this works. No, this should be fine. Okay. So then we do change modulo 10, and change minus equals dimes times 10. Nickels equals change modulo 5. Change minus equals nickels times 5. And pennies is change modulo 1. Well, actually, it's whatever's left, right? And then pennies equals change. It's not going to worry about that. All right, and then let's print out quarters that. Let's do a long string here. It's not actually called a long string, it's called a doc string, but whatever. Dimes will be that. Nickels will be that. And pennies will be whatever that is. And then here we'll do dot format, quarters, dimes, nickels, and change. All right, let's test this out. What do you all think? And then yeah, let's see. Somebody asked how to get PyCharm. Shreyam Singh asked how to get PyCharm for free. So there is a free community version of PyCharm, and it is on the JetBrains website. If you go to JetBrains, you can look for PyCharm, and then you can get the community version. It does. It's missing a few features that the version I'm using has, but for doing basic Python, Flask, Django stuff, it's more than enough. So let's do. Total amount's $10.52. The amount paid was $11 and change. See how we have this 48 blah 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 blah, right? Yeah, so that's all like way wrong. All right, cool. So let's figure out what I did wrong. And then we'll fix this. So first of all, let's make these decimals. So from decimal, import decimal. And instead of using float here, we want to use decimal. And the reason we want to use decimal is because decimals are they're like floats, but they are not they're not binary numbers, so that makes them actually like work. Let's close that one, and let's look here at decimal. So we've got all these things. So now that we've just changed that, let's see what that ends up being. Okay, so let's just run this again and see how that changes things. 10.52, we paid $11. And so now we can see that the change is 48 cents, which is correct, right? That's the thing that we want. But our quarters, all this stuff is still really wrong, right? So let's figure out how we do this. So quarters would be change that if quarters, then we do that. Dimes is that. If dimes, right? Because I want modulo 25. Let me double check this here. So if I have 0.48 modulo 25, why is neither of those coming out? Like 25 modulo, there's my modulo. Yeah, I'm not thinking of this right. All right, so let's see. I want to take however many quarters can go into something, right? Oh, wait, it shouldn't be 25. It should be 0.25. Yeah. So if I do 0.5 modulo 0.25, 0.0, because that's a total number. See, this is where my math totally fails me, y'all. All right, so let's see. First of all, oops, I want these all to be points, right? And then that's still going to be wrong, but let's see how wrong it is. Total amount, 10, 52, 11. So these all need to be decimal as well. Okay, that makes sense. All right. So 10.52, 11, 48 cents. So we can see 0.23 quarters. So that's how much is left after we put in quarters? That's not right. Let's see what we get if we just do print, change, divided by decimal 0.25. All right, let's just see what we get. Let's just see what we get for that. And then code. All right. Run this. I don't need that. Netlog. Thank you. 10.52, 11. We get 1.92. Okay. So that makes sense, right? Sorry, I can try round numbers. Which programming language is that? Case here, this is Python. And it does look a little bit like Java, I guess. It's not, but it kind of looks like Java. I know what we can do. Here we go. Quarters equals change flat flat division 0.25. Okay, so then let's print quarters here. All right. See, once I think about it for a minute, I get closer to it. All right, so we can have 1 quarter in there, which is true, right? We can put 1 quarter into 48 cents. Okay, so cool. So now change equals or change minus equals quarters times 0.25. You know what? Let's add a couple of values up here. So let's say quarter is equal to decimal 0.25. And we'll say dime, and we'll say nickel. And we don't need pennies because, you know, a penny is 1, right? And then nickel is 5. Okay, cool. So now, come back down here. Change equals change divided by quarter. And so this division here with the double slashes, that's integer division. So it does division and then drops off anything that comes after the decimal point. So if it's 1.1852, it's just 1, right? It doesn't matter. There's no rounding. There's no up, down. It's just that. And we can't do rounding because we're dealing with numbers, so we're not going to be doing rounding, right? So so we want this quarters times quarter. And let's make sure that that's going to work. All right, so 1052, $11 is 48 cents minus 25 cents should be 23 cents. Sweet. Okay, so we can see that our thing is breaking down correctly. All right, so now let's do dimes equals change divided by dime, and then change minus equals quarter or dimes times dime. And then let's print our change here again. And that way we can, again, make sure that we're doing this correctly. All right, so 1052, $11, and 48 cents, and then we take 25 cents off, and then we take 20 cents off, and we've got that. Yep, okay, cool. So now we'll do our last one for nickels, which we can actually just take those two things out. So that will be change flat division of nickel, and then nickels times nickel, and then let's just take those off, and yeah. All right, so let's try running this again. I think we got it. 1052, $11. So our change is 48 cents. We'd have 1 quarter, 2 dimes, 0 nickels, and pennies would actually be change times 100. 1052, 11. And that one we could round. No, we don't want to round that. We just want to int that. We just want to make that an integer. 1052, $11. Okay, so 48 cents breaks down into 1 quarter, 2 dimes, and 3 pennies, right? Yeah, that's correct. That comes out right. All right, cool. So I see on formatting, we could take out these bits. And we could probably add in, like, you know, some nice things here. Like, we wanted to do print that times, I don't know, 20. So total amount would be 1052 again. Amount paid would be 11. And then we kind of get, like, this stuff. We could format these so that we have, like, dollar signs and stuff in there. There we go. Change would be that. Yeah. All right, so let's see how that looks. Yeah, so that looks a little bit nicer there, right? Yeah, so let me look back at chat here. Somebody asked if they missed something. Sorry for the late join. No, you didn't miss anything. We don't have a one solid particular goal for today. We're just kind of playing around with some different code challenges and just kind of seeing what we can come up with to do interesting, different stuff, right? And then, as MR said, yes, there was frustration of trying to find the right value types. Sometimes it comes to you, sometimes it doesn't, right? Yeah, just it's a thing. And then Jamal asks, does someone know how to get a free Treehouse account? There's not really any way to get a free Treehouse account, so sorry about that. We do have a couple of charities that we work with that provide accounts for people. So if you check on our website under the scholarship information, there's stuff there about those charities that we work with for free or cheap accounts. And then a lot of local libraries, at least in the U.S., have Treehouse available to their, to their members, to their patrons. So check with your local library if you're in the U.S. There's a good chance that you might be able to get that. So, okay. I think this is kind of cool. I think we can make this a little better, though. We can make this to where we know that people are going to give us good values. So let's do some new functions here. Like, let's do one that's get total amount. And we're going to return total amount, right? Like, no matter what. But let's do this while true, try. Or actually, we don't even need that. Okay, so let's take our try except here. And let's put them up here. But the except, we're just going to do return get total amount. So all we're doing here is we're asking them for the total amount. Video feed is overlapping the text. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Where's my video capture? There's my video capture. There we go. That should be better. We're in the process of building up a like an overlay, a new screen, and we'll have dedicated areas for video and stuff like that. So that'll be better. So let's do total amount equals get total amount, and then we're gonna do the same thing on def get amount paid. And let's just take this out and paste it into here. And except for there, where we will return get amount paid. Alright, so then we can do amount paid. I cannot spell that. That is amazing. Right, so that gives us a thing. So that we kind of have this thing looping over here on the side until we get the right value, and then things are going to be good. Sebin asks how much is the subscription for Treehouse. I do believe it starts at $25 US per month. So yeah. So let's add a new thing here. So we've got those, and let's do import OS. And let's make a thing here to clear the screen. We'll just call it clear. Oh, excuse me. And we want to do os.system cls if os.name is equal to nt, else clear. And that way we can clear the screen whenever we're doing stuff, right? So here we can call clear, and actually let's call clear down here. And that way we can kind of control how the screen looks, right? All right, so that's that. And so then let's create a new function that is calculate change. And let's just take change and let's do our quarters thing. Bring that up here to this. And pennies equals change times 100. And that'll be an int. Okay? And then let's return quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies. Yeah, that looks right. Okay? So then we've got our change here is that. And if change, then let's say quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies equals calculate change, and we pass in the change. And then our print there can still work. Okay? But let's have a new function here that is like output. And it's going to take, we'll just have it take quarks. I like to specify what it's going to output, or what it's going to take. So it's going to take total, paid, change, quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies. Yeah, that's probably a good one to use like args and quarks on, right? But that's fine. So we don't need that, but we do need this. So let's do, let's say print total amount, $format dot format total, print amount paid, and then change do, be that. And then let's print equal signs times 20. So we've got a bunch of equal signs coming across. And then something seems to be being formatted weird. That was wrong. Okay. I don't see anything weird, and I'm not getting any. Oh, that should be if, not is. There we go. Rick Adams asks if the streams are accessible on YouTube. They are. They are always posted afterwards. It may take a little while, but they're always posted afterwards. So, yep, you will be able to watch it later if you want. All right. So then I want to put this in. That's going to print all of that stuff. All right. So that's that, and then no matter what, we want to call output, and we want to pass in the total amount, the amount paid, the change, the quarters, the dimes, the nickels, and the pennies. All right, so now let's try running this one. This should be a little bit nicer here. So let's do something that's actually a little bit bigger. Let's do $10.12, and we paid $11.02. And so our change that's due back is 90 cents, which is correct. That's 3/4, which comes up to 75 cents, plus 1 dime, which comes to 85 cents. We should have 1 nickel in there. That's kind of funny that we don't have any nickels. Let's figure out why we don't have any nickels. Where did we figure that? We figured that out up here. Okay, so change comes in here. And so then we do change equals quarter. Tell you what, let's do a breakpoint right there. And let's run this with the debugger. Oh, not coverage, debugger. There we go. All right, total amount. We did 10.12? I don't know, something like that. And we paid 11.02. Okay, so we've gotten to here. Change is currently 0. Oh, haha, I'm a dummy. All right. Did any of y'all catch this? Anybody catch that my nickels are actually half-dollar pieces and they should be 0.05? Because that's just wrong. All right, there we go. So, all right, now let's try it. Let's try running this again. Okay, so we're gonna pay 10.12. And we're going to pay 11.02. And 90 pennies. That's the part that's weird. Because that shouldn't actually be change. Like change. That should be this new change. Because we're updating change each time. Right? So let's drop in another breakpoint and run this with the debugger. All right, 10.12, 11.02. And so now we're to there, and changes that. So, there we go. You don't have change? Debugger, okay. So, right there, change is nothing. So what I want to do is I want to inspect. I want evaluate expression. There we go. Change times 100. The result is 0. Cool. That's what it should be. But it comes out as 90 pennies. Why does that come out as 90 pennies? Because that should just be whatever is left over. That number of pennies being sent. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of notifications. So let me see if there's any that I need to pay attention to. There's not. All right. So I'm just back to y'all. Okay. So let's see. We've got our change. change comes in. We figure out the number of quarters by doing integer division on the change and the quarter value. Then we figure out how much change we've chopped off by multiplying the number of quarters times our quarter value. Okay. We do the same thing for dimes. We do the same thing for nickels. And we're always doing minus equals. Right? We could be more explicit and we could say change minus that. Right? We could do it like that, but there's really no reason to. Okay. So then pennies should be equal to change times 100. Oh, haha. Looking at the wrong thing. This should be pennies. And that one was unnecessary. Okay, let's try this now. 10.12. We paid $11.02. And we get back 3 quarters, 1 dime, 1 nickel, and no pennies. All right, cool. So we got that. All right. So if y'all are running this on your own, you're not going to get this term environment variable not set. So don't worry about that when you're seeing it on mine, because that's just it doesn't know. Let's see if I can set that actually. Environment. That's Puppet. Environment variables. Okay, so let's add one, which is term, which would be, we'll say, xterm color. All right, so now if we come back over here and we run this, nah, it's still not set. Okay, whatever. That's fine. Okay, so I think we've got that one about as well as it's going to be done. It's not necessarily amazing, but that's kind of cool. We got something done. So let's look at the PDF and let's find something else that we want to do, that we want to play with, right? All right, so let's see. Distance, credit card validator, tax calculator, text. Let's play with text. Text is fun. Or at least I say text is fun. We'll find out if text is fun or not. Objects query tool. Fetch current. Let's play with the with fetch current weather, because we can use the requests module to play with that one. So that one's fun. So let's look at Wonderground. Do they have an API? Let's figure out who has a weather API that we can use. Weather API, check that out. There we go. Okay, cool. So, pricing, is there a free one? Yeah. Yeah, that's all I want. All right, purchase key. It's kind of funny purchasing a key for something free. All right. And let's generate a password. There we go. Dennis asks, where is the PDF from? So the PDF is was sent to me by Pausenpfeifer, one of the stream regulars, and it's listed as what is the Martyr 2's mega project list. So if you go check for that, you will find that one out there. And then you can play with that. And yeah, MR, Yahoo does have a great API. I'm a big fan of Weather Underground. So, oh, I haven't validated my email. Let me see if I can do that from my phone real quick. So over here, let's go to email. I mean, and how fun is this? Y'all get to you get to watch me try and do email and stuff. You know what? I don't think it's actually worth it. So let's not worry about that. Let's see about using the Yahoo one. Maybe that's a free one. Yahoo Weather API. Weather. Get started. So I have to create an app. Y'all didn't see that. Okay, so live stream weather. There we go. It runs on that. All I need is... I don't need any of those things. Create that. Okay, so there's the keys. So cool. So let's make a new file that we'll call weather.py. And then we'll make another new file that we'll call weather secrets.py. And this will be the one where I copy my keys to. What was that? Client ID. Client ID equals that thing. And client secret equals that thing. And we're going to save and close that file. And there's no way anybody will ever go back, pause this, and look at that file. Because I trust all of you. There's no way that you're going to do that. Right? Okay, great. Super Tosta, sorry, says, just began to learn Python with the course you teach at Treehouse. Hey, glad to have you on board at Treehouse. That is awesome. I'm going to go ahead here and let's look at this project. I'm going to add a new thing. I'm going to add the requests library. And so if you've never played with requests, requests is a library that is just used for making requests. So it just goes off to the internet and fetches whatever thing you need it to fetch, right? And then it sends back whatever the value is. So with that installed, we can use that to go and make requests. So we come over here. There's the off to, let's see, get weather from Yahoo Weather API. Code examples. I don't really want the code examples. I want... Oh, wait, here we go. Python. Check that out. Okay. So let's grab our weather.py. And we'll do the same idea here of having this if name is equal to main, no arbitrary spaces this time. Then we'll do that. Okay. So, they have this base URL, which I'm just going to copy what they have here, and then we will make use of this with the request library instead. All right, so base URL, YQL query, YQL URL. Okay, so def main, let's do zip code equals input where would you like weather for? And they can put in their zip code there. And so let's take this. Oops. And we'll replace that with that. And I really think base URL should have an underscore in it. I don't think I need URL lib, do I? URL encode. That's it. Yeah, your quargs. Yeah, your quargs will encode that. Okay. So that's fine. We can do and format equals JSON. Oh no, wait, that's not what we want. We don't want that. We want the query to be encoded. Okay, so we'll be fine. So down here, Vuitton is way. I'm gonna say that's what it is. Yeah, we're using Python, and this is the 3.5 version of it. And I need to upgrade to 3.6 because that just came out, and that would have made some of this stuff a little easier, but it's fine. But I don't have it, so whatever. Okay, so query is going to be YQL query dot format zip code, because we want to take the zip code, stick it into the query, and then URL is going to be equal to base URL. Let's not even bother with that. So let's just say response equals request.get base URL quargs equals. Actually, we don't even need that. We can just do right. Let me double check that. So URL and then yeah, whatever quargs we pass in. Okay. So then we will say that it is query or Q equals query and format equals JSON. All right. And I'll delete those. All right, I'm going to leave this one alone just as a note for now. And then let's just print out response.json. Cool. All right, let's try running this one. Where would you like weather for? 97068. Request got an unexpected keyword argument Q. Maybe this should actually be a dictionary. Cool, okay. So we got back a response, but we got no results. Okay, so let's print out print response.url. If I remember correctly, that'll work. I want to copy that URL and paste it into here. and that gives me no results, which is cool. What is the WOEID? That's the thing I don't have. I don't know what the WOEID is. So what can I request instead? Is there anything I can request instead? Alright, so I have to get the WOEID for a particular place. To find that, browse or search for your city from the weather homepage. It's the URL for the forecast page. Now that's just horrible. Why do I have to go and get it that way? Why can't I just say, hey, give me... Why can't I just say, hey, give me one for this place? Alright, so let's see. Let's go look here. We have to go to the weather homepage. That doesn't actually have the details for here. So let's search Portland, Oregon. There we go. So now, if we look at this, we have 247, blah, 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 blah. Alright, so let's try running this again for that place. Okay, and what we get back is, I get this channel, so there's wind, the wind chill is 18, the speed is 7, and the direction is 90, which I'm going to guess 90 is west. Do they have that listed anywhere? They do. East. Okay, so 90 is east. Okay, so that's a thing, but that's a horrible thing. There has to be a faster way to do that, right? Like, there has to be a faster way to find out those locations. Sorry, we got some chat questions here. Super Tosta asks, what's the program he's using for the documentation? I assume you're talking about this thing. This is called Dash. It's a program by a company called Capelli. I think it's one dude. Like, literally one guy, not just using dude as the default. It's pretty awesome. It's an offline documentation viewer, so you can come and download whatever doc sets you want. So if you're like, oh, I do a lot of Java 8, you can download and you'll have that doc set available. And you can get whatever kind of stuff you want. So, yeah. It's pretty handy. Okay, so it says here that we have old documentation that still uses a P for location, which will let you use a zip code. So instead of using that, I could just get... Alright, there's got to be a better way. So let's see. Yahoo Weather, look up WOEID. Is that what it's called? WOEID. Somebody has one there. GeoPlanet here has one. '28 place named Moscow, and that 26 of them are in the USA. Weird ones. Yeah, I actually knew that there were a lot of places. Named Moscow. So here's a bunch of stuff for looking this up. Sorry, I have somebody messaging me saying I'm using the wrong input for my mic. I'm pretty sure I'm not, but let's double check. Nope, that's the podcaster. That's the microphone. So, okay, Polly, if you can find out for certain that I'm wrong, let me know, but I think I'm good. Alright. There has to be a way to look this up, right? WOEID, Geoplanet Service. Maybe that'll do it. Okay. So returns places matching specified place and optional focus. Sorry. Okay, Polly, stop messaging me. Okay, so the where on earth identifier. So that's the thing that we need to look up, right? So we want to find that place, and we want to get back what the where on earth ID is, the WOE ID. So is it this geoplanet thing? Find the WOE ID of a landmark, yeah, to a place, to a specific place. All right, so let's try looking at this one. So def get WOE ID, and this will be, we'll take zip code. Actually, we'll return WOE ID. And then, so we're going to do that. And our base query is that. So let's just say response equals requests.get this URL, and then our quargs are going to be, oh, actually, let's take this and dot format zip code, and then our quargs are app ID, and this will be weather, import weather secrets as secrets. And I don't actually know if I have an app ID or not. Probably over here. App ID. I'm gonna guess it's the consumer ID. That, or I have to make a. Do I have to make a whatever this thing is? No, I made one of those things. Okay. I'm gonna guess it's the secrets thing. So we'll do secrets.client ID. And response. Alright, and then let's take this stuff out. And let's just call get WOEID for the zip code that they passed in. Or rather, that we're going to pass in. Node name or socket. Something it doesn't like. Okay, so that app ID did not work. That's fun. So we called it livestream-weather. So let's try that. I didn't like that either. Okay, let's take this. So that server just doesn't exist. That's amazing. That's great job, Yahoo. That's great. Matt asks, is there anything like Dash for Windows? There is, and I'm having a really hard time remembering the name of it now. I've used it, and it worked well. I think it's called Velocity. Yeah, I think it's called Velocity. So check that out. This is ridiculous because the thing doesn't work. What's this other one? Query.yahooapis.com. So let's try changing that. Let's try doing this as query. Right, I know that doesn't exist. I shouldn't have had you print that out. Okay, that's bad too. That doesn't exist. Okay. So, like, is that really true? Just like that, just where.yahooapis.com does not exist. How does that not exist? Like, what the heck, Yahoo? Yeah, that's amazing. Humanoid asks what I'm building. So, the idea for today's stream, for this week's live stream, is just to do something fairly calm and relaxing, something fairly chill. And so what we're doing is we're just doing something pretty simple, right? So I have this list of project ideas, and we're just kind of building a couple of random things out of this, just seeing what we can find, and we're just playing with stuff. So nothing serious going on. Just kind of hanging out. So cool. Location by city, name, or zip. Weather.com is the name of the URL. Yeah, I know it's a theme of the URL. That's the problem, is that it's a theme of the URL. I don't want it to be a theme of the URL. I want it to be given to me. Yeah. I want it to be given to me. I don't want to have to go and fetch. I mean, I could fake it, right? All right. Let's see if I got... All right, y'all just ignore my mail for a minute. all right? Because there's going to be whatever mail there is in here. Unexpected sign-in attempt. Yeah, cool. Okay, Weather Underground. Validate your email. Validated. Are we good? We're good. Okay. So I'm gonna hide that again. Do I still have the Weather Underground one open? I don't, but let's hop back over there. Wonderground. Because the Yahoo one's not working. All right. So we're gonna not worry about that one. Weather API for developers. Explore my options. Was that what I did last time? And yeah, that's what I want. Okay, give me that key. I have validated it. Do I need to validate it again? Let's copy that one back into here. We good? Cool. All right, there we go. Now, can I go back to here? There we go. Okay, cool. Kenneth Love at gmail.com. Sure. Live stream weather. There's not one. Other. No. No. I'm in the United States. Building a weather lookup thingy for a live stream. Sure. Requires attribution. You all know that I'm using the Weather Underground, right? All right. Cool. Everybody knows I'm using that. Website name cannot be... Oh, I got to fill that all out again? No, I don't. Project website. It's not actually being used on Treehouse, but whatever. Sweet. Okay. Cool. So, there's what I was looking for. All right, so there's the key. So let's go change the secrets real quick. Key equals that thing. Cool. All right, so now documentation. And let's just close all the rest of these. Because Yahoo did not help me out. Thanks a lot, Yahoo. See, this is why Yahoo is, like, dying, right? So, yeah, see? Check that out. I can do that. Oh, so much easier. Okay. So let's go over here to weather.py. Let's go change some stuff. Okay, so let's take this. And let's set this as our base URL. And, yeah, okay. So do that, and then format secrets.key. That way I just don't have to remember that the whole time. Okay, so I shouldn't have to get the WOEID anymore. And we should be able to just get stuff, right? So, what I want to do is I want to look this up based on, code samples. Let's see what's under code samples. If you've watched the stream before, you know that I love me some code samples because code samples are great. Okay, so what are my different lookup resources? Country to ISO matching. Let's just see what happens if I try to look it up with let's just see what happens. So let's just do request or response equals requests.get base URL plus slash that dot JSON, and that'll be formatted with that. So then let's just print response.json. And let's just see what we get. The worst thing that happens is that it works, right? And we can quit mail now that we got this working. All right, 97068. And I get a whole bunch of stuff. Time zone is Los Angeles, and then we get things I'm in Gladstone, latitude, elevation, longitude. We get a bunch of stuff. That's pretty nice looking. All right, let's do this. We don't need that. Import pprint, and let's do pprint.pprint response.json. Those of you who don't know about pprint is pretty print, and it's amazing. So, yeah. Humanoid asks, what about the Dark Sky API? That would be a good one. I'd probably try that one next if I couldn't get Weather Underground to work. Dennis, we have a really hard time sharing web URLs on YouTube chat. So I will tweet it out after the stream is over. Video Ada asks, what is your objective? We're just kind of playing around with code. So right now we're building a weather checker thingy-mabobber. Humanoid says, if you're using Python 3.6, you could use an F string. I could. I'm not using Python 3.6 as of yet, though. So, yeah, I wish I was, but I'm currently not. So that doesn't do me any good. So let's grab a couple of things out of here that are useful, right? So let's just say JSON is equal to response.json. Actually, let's call this weather JSON, because you never know, we might need to import JSON. So let's do this. Let's say city equals weather JSON, current observation, display location, city. State will be the same thing, and let's do country as well. But that'll be here as country. Okay, cool. So that's that. So then let's do temp is weather JSON, current observation. And I want feels like string, and that's underscore string. So that'll be fun. And then we have an icon. I can't really show an icon in like a terminal, so that's too bad. But whatever. Okay, so let's just try this. So for now, let's do print currently that in city, state, country. And we'll say temp, city, state, country. And this is another place where, as Humanoid pointed out a while ago, that it would be nice to have the F strings. So it's currently 33 degrees, 0 degrees Celsius in Westland, Oregon, US. Which is true enough, I guess. What does that say? That says 36, but what does Apple know? Actually, it says 27, but what does Apple know? So cool, there's a little weather checker. That's fun, right? Let's see, DarkDev, what's Scrapey? Scrapey is a web scraping library for Python. It lets you build bots. spiders, stuff like that. It's pretty fun. And then MR says, is there some hope for the Treehouse shop to come back? I'm guessing you mean like a place to buy like Treehouse hoodies or t-shirts or whatever. I don't know. I have no idea about that. I don't know that right now we have the people required to do that, so I can't say for certain. So I'm going to run this again, and I'm going to plug in this thing. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to be able to look at this weather JSON, because I want to see if there's something else here that I would want to show. So we have temp C and we have temp F, which that's handy, I guess. We've got weather, which is clear. That's kind of nice. Let's grab weather out of current observation as well. So let's just call that like condition. Weather JSON. Current observation. You know what? This is kind of silly. Current equals weather JSON. Current observation. Why did I type that out so many times? So current. CF that. Alright, and that would be weather. So currently that, comma that, and let's do condition there. So that should say like, oh, it's raining, or it's snowing, or it's, you know, whatevering. I'm hoping it doesn't rain or snow today, so we'll find out. Okay, so now 97068 is that. So currently clear, 33 degrees Fahrenheit, 1 degree Celsius in West Windward. Cool. Okay, so now I know this works, and it works well enough. And let's try this. Somebody who's not in the U.S., give me your zip code in the YouTube chat so that I can test that one out. I want to test somewhere that's not right where I'm at. And then we'll see what we can do to make this maybe a little more interesting. I don't know if we'll be able to or not, but we'll try. So yeah, somebody not in the U.S., or at least not in the west coast of the U.S., give me your postal code, your zip code, or just your. Actually, it should work for any location, really. I say it'll work for any location. I don't know that it actually will, but let's try zip codes, postal codes. So somebody who's out of the U.S. or at least not on the west coast of the U.S., give me your postal code. And then we'll see about changing this up a little bit. We'll try to make it print like emoji, maybe, or ASCII symbols. Here we go. We got one. We've got L2430. Couldn't find current observation. Okay, so that means it probably didn't get anything. So let's try this. Except key error. Print, and let's just print weather JSON. Let's just print out whatever's there. And actually, let's do pprint.pprint, so it'll look nicer. All right, and so we got L2430. No cities match your search query. Okay, I can see that. I can see that not being a city that it can find. Let's try it again, though. Let's try another one of these. What do we have here? We have 3202. Yeah, okay, so this might be a somewhat restricted thing. Dark Dev, sorry to see you go. Sorry Python isn't your thing. I don't know that I'll be doing any live streams about C#, as I don't know C#, but we'll give it a try maybe at some point. Luxembourg. L2430. Let's see if that comes up with anything. Ah, there we go. So currently clear, 19 degrees Fahrenheit, -7 degrees Celsius. Is that about right for you? Are you at about negative 7 degrees Celsius right now? And let's see, we've got another one here. We've got Chisinau, Republic of Moldova. So it says you are currently at negative 13 degrees Celsius and snowing. So that's chilly. That's not fun at all. And then we've got Ontario, Canada, which we got a bunch of stuff here. So we got Windsor. Okay. And then, oh yeah, let's do this. Let's try Nairobi, Kenya. That should be a fun one. So Nairobi, Kenya. Scattered clouds, 68 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees Celsius. So nice. So pleasant in Nairobi right now. So good for you, Dennis. Enjoy your nice weather. All right, cool. So we know this works. We've got this working for different locations around the world. So let's see what we can do. What do we have for like ASCII symbols? I know ASCII doesn't have a whole lot of symbols, but let's see what symbols we can find here. Really, is that it? All right, ASCII's not going to work for this. Russian ASCII. Wow, Russian ASCII's got a lot there. All right, so let's do Unicode weather symbols. Miscellaneous symbols. Cool. Miscellaneous symbols. Check it out. We got weather. All right, so let's figure out how to format the weather here. So let's say if condition, how about this? If snow in condition.lower, then icon equals, and we'll grab the somewhat grumpy looking snowman. If rain in condition.lower, icon equals, and we'll grab the umbrella. Actually, let's make this Elif. Elif, the other one would need to be like windy, but I don't know that we have a good symbol for windy anywhere. Yeah, let's not worry about windy. And then I'll grab the sun. Oh, I guess we could do cloud. So let's do cloud. There we go. If cloud in condition.lower, icon equals the cloud, else icon equals, and then we'll grab the sun. Now this isn't perfect. Of course, this is not at all perfect. But let's toss in the icon. And you know what, let's put those on the next line there. So that should be there too. All right, let's try this again. And I know that mine was clear, so I've got the little sun there. All right, so that works. Let's try, who was it that had snow? We had, it was Moldova that had snow, right? So let's try that one again. Chisinau, Republic of Moldova. There we go. I can't spell, I promise. Okay, so I can see a tiny little snowman. He is the tiniest snowman there has ever been, but there is a tiny little snowman right there. And then, oh, somebody wants me to try Silicon Valley. All right, so let's try 94086. We got a stun and it's clear. Who do we have that is somewhere that it's raining right now? If anywhere, anybody. Recife, Brazil. We've got partly cloudy, and we've got, again, the tiniest little cloud right there. So cool. So we've got it to where it's giving us a little icon and it's printing out this kind of stuff, right? Marine's got snow. All right, hey Marine, give me your. I know about where you're at, but I need your zip code. I don't think I can do this with a country or a city state. So what's your zip code, Marine? Or actually, we already got a snow one. Who's got rain? Anybody has rain? Try London. Yeah, let's try London. London, UK. Hey, check it out. We've got an umbrella. Again, the tiniest umbrella. But we've got an umbrella, and we've got light rain. Good guess there, Sergio, that there would be rain in London. I didn't even think of that one, but that's amazing. So, and then now we've got a new one. Somebody wants me to try. I'll try this one. It's probably the last one. We've got Poland. P-I. Yeah, and I have the thing with the L's turned off. Let's just try that. Let's see if it works. City of Poland. No, not the City of Poland. No, not that. Sorry, I can't do the characters right now, the Polish characters, simply because I have... Let's figure it out. Because something is weird with my keyboard. I can't do the multiple the typing thing, to where it'll do, if I hold down the key, it maybe it's just the key repeats too fast. That's not it, right? Don't use smart quotes. Turn these off, kids. These things are evil. Language and region. Maybe that's where it's at. Time format. Yes, 24-hour time. Why would you not be 24-hour time? Monday. Alright, sorry. Y'all are just getting to see me change my settings. I know there's something in here, though, for changing the key repeat. You hold down the key, and it lets you change the... it pops open suggestions. But I don't know where that is. And it's been a while since I played with that. Shortcuts, keyboard. No. Alright, whatever. Sorry, we'll have to find that another time. So, anyway, so we've got this working. And we've got 15 more minutes. So I'm going to go over, yeah, I think it's probably the key repeat. Let's see, if I hold down L. No? Of course, that could also just be that thing there, just not working. No. I don't know. I will figure that out later because that's been bugging me. So, yeah, humanoid, we got about 15 minutes left, so I'm just going to turn this over to questions for now. We're not going to, we'll probably stop coding for a while. Let me look through stuff here to see what I'm missing. Humanoid says that the live streams should be recorded and posted to Treehouse as workshops. And we're actually trying to do that. We're going to start most likely posting these to the site. The problem that we have is the live streams are free and available on YouTube, right? Like, they're just posted live to YouTube. You can come watch them. You can come watch the videos later. You can do whatever you want. Inside of our application, inside of Treehouse, they're behind a paywall. You have to be a paying subscriber to see the content of Treehouse. So that makes it a little weird with... I want to make sure that nobody feels like they're getting cheated or they're being forced to pay for something that's free content. So we're trying to figure out how we present this in our application without it being disingenuous, right? To where people feel like, oh, you're making me pay for this thing that's free on YouTube. So we're working through that. We're trying to figure that out. And once we have that figured out, then we will have these available in the app. So, and then Tompkin says, just copy. I would copy, but my chat is all on my phone and not on my computer, and I don't currently have a good way of copying from phone to computer, as technology hasn't advanced that far anywhere. There's no such thing. So, yeah. Kevin asks, how come you can write in a country or state or a zip code and get the same response? What do you post into the API? We are literally just posting whatever somebody sends in. But the problem is that we're just posting this as like .json or like just JSON, right? So if we look at like here, you can see that they have a key here. They're doing geo lookup conditions, and then they're breaking this down into like state of Indiana or Iowa, whatever state that is, IA, and then the city of Cedar Rapids.json. And we were posting in like the zip code. So we would need to try, different stuff to see how we do that with the other stuff. So we'll have to just figure out what's going on. So I'll have to play with that more. And then turn key repeat off. I don't want to turn key repeat off. I like key repeat being on because occasionally I need to type the same key a whole bunch of times. Okay, that's not true. I don't know if I ever have to do that. Universal Clipboard is built in. That would work great if I had a Apple phone. I am using an Android phone, though. I'm using a Google Pixel, so I cannot do the paste bin thing. Sorry. It's so weird, huh? And then MR Yes Sir asks, do you have any classes for using an API on Treehouse? We do, sort of, kinda. There are courses on how to build your own APIs. So there's one from me, there's one for Flask, and there's one for Django. And there's a kind of a general one about like what an API provides. There is a workshop on Treehouse though about how to consume an API or consume a website, not specifically an API, but consume a website through the request framework like this one, like we're doing here. So you could watch that. It'll give you a lot of what you're going to see here, actually, for how to do that. I have had a lot of requests for using APIs from within Python or whatever, so I'm probably going to come up with a course or a workshop for that over the next year. I don't actually have 2017 completely planned yet, so I don't know what I'm doing when. But once I have that figured out, then you'll see announcements for it, so just keep an eye out. And Jamal asks, what is my editor? So this editor here is PyCharm. It's a pretty awesome editor from JetBrains. I have the professional edition, whatever it's called, but there is a community edition that is free, and they also have an education edition, which has a really cool feature where teachers can put out modules that you can like take a course inside your editor. I tried building one of those a couple of years ago, and it was ridiculously difficult to get it to work, but apparently they've made some major advances on that, so I need to try it again and see what that's like, because that would be really fun to put out for people. Sauceman says, 2 screens. Yeah, I had 2 screens up until Monday of this past week when I sold my second monitor. I'm waiting on the new monitor to come. It's coming today. It's on the FedEx truck right now. I don't know when the FedEx truck is getting here, though. So, you will see. That's the way that goes. Hi, Dynamix. How are you doing? Glad to have you here for the last few minutes of the stream. And Humanoid says, here is a broad question, Flask versus Django. Yes. No. Both. Neither. It doesn't matter. It depends on what you're wanting to do, right? So if I want to build something that is very, very customized, right? I want the URLs to look and work exactly like I want. I want the views to be the simple little stripped down things. It's not going to be doing something ridiculous and large. I'm probably going to reach for Flask almost every time, simply because Flask gives me that fine-grained control without having to jump through any hoops. But if I know that my app has to do a lot of stuff, if I know my app has to, I don't know, I have to handle login and RSS feeds and an ORM and all this kind of stuff, like, right away, I'm going to use Django, simply because Django is going to give me all of that without me having to dig around and find the right packages that I want to use and then tie everything in together and then go, oh my god, blueprints don't work, I don't know how to make blueprints work, and just that kind of frustration. So it really depends on what I'm doing. They're both great. Pyramid is awesome. Pyramid's amazing. Spotify uses Pyramid, and they build just amazing software using it. There's lots of other places that are using Pyramid as well. Cherry Pie has had kind of a resurgence lately. I haven't played with Cherry Pie in the better part of 5+ years, 8 years, but apparently it's had a pretty big resurgence lately. The only one that I kind of shy people away from is Web2Pie. But I know several people that really love Web2Pie, so it's worth checking out. It might be way more awesome than I think it is. So they're all fine. I mean, you could ask me the same question about Rails or .NET or Spring, and I'm going to tell you the exact same answer, that they're all fine. They all get the job done, right? It just depends on the way that you like, the approach that you like. So play with them all, try them all out. Use the one that feels the best to you. And then Matt says, how long does it take you to plan out a course on Treehouse and then implement it like the Django one? That varies from course to course. Typically on things that are labeled as something basics, so like Python basics, Django basics, Flask basics, those take a little bit longer because I have to make sure I'm covering all my bases, right? I have to make sure that I'm not diving into things that don't need to be explained yet, but I'm covering all the broad ground that's going to get you comfortable enough with whatever the subject is that you can go and build something afterwards. Because my goal isn't for you to take Python basics and then have to take Python collections, which is the second course, right away. I don't want you to feel like you have to do that. I want you to feel like you can take Python basics and then you can go play with Python for a week, a month, and come away with something, right? So those take a little bit longer because I have to cover a lot of stuff. Other courses where I'm covering one very specific tiny little thing, like the Python testing course, I wrote that in a day. I'm not proud of that. Well, I am. I'm proud of that, but that's abnormal to write it in a day. But I wrote it in a day. I wrote it in actually about 2 hours. And so that didn't take that long, but I was only covering unit test. I'm like, here's how unit test works. Here's how to write basic unit test cases. Here's how to use setup. Here's how to use teardown. You're good. Go write your tests. And then it was like, okay, and then here's coverage.py. Here's how to use coverage. And that was basically all I had to do. So covering that was a lot easier and a lot faster to cover. The rest of the production, so that's me writing. The rest of the production is me going in and filming it on set, me going in and screencasting, writing the quizzes, writing the code challenges, writing the teacher's notes, preparing all the downloads and the workspaces. That all takes much longer. I can write a course in a week, and then I'll spend 3 weeks with the rest of production. Or more. 4 weeks, 5 weeks. So those things take a while. Sauceman says, I'm working a lot with .NET Core at the moment. Have you checked it out? And if you did, what did you think about it? I haven't actually gotten to get into .NET Core. I played around back around U.S. Thanksgiving, so the end of November. I was playing with Unity, so I wrote a little teeny tiny bit of C# following some tutorials in Unity. And that was neat. I liked that. I haven't gotten to play with the .NET side yet at all. It's kind of sort of on my plans for this year to learn at least a teeny tiny bit of .NET since I'm moving part-time to Windows. But I can't say anything about it yet. It seems really cool. Several of my coworkers really, really like it. Jamal Dag asks, when did you start Python and how did I sign on at Treehouse? And no, your English is fine. Don't worry about that at all. So I started doing Python. Let's see, my son is. I had started doing Python about 8 years ago. A really good friend and I, we both worked for the same company, and we wrote PHP all day long. Well, he wrote PHP all day long. I wrote PHP, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript all day long, and ActionScript because we did a bunch of Flash stuff. And neither of us were really big fans of PHP all day long, every day. And so we played around with Ruby for a while. Neither of us really loved Ruby. It was hard for us to kind of get into at the time. And so we tried Python. Specifically, I tried Turbo Gears, which is now Pyramid, and he tried Django. We spent like a day playing with tutorials, and then we kind of like came back together and we're like, here's what this thing is. Here's what this thing looks like. And we were both just blown away by Django. So we learned Django. We taught ourselves Django, which was not the best decision because we didn't learn Python. We just learned Django. So my Python was very lacking and rusty for a long, long time. I went back and I learned a lot of Python later on, like a year or two later. But yeah, I've been writing Python for the better part of a decade. So I love it. And then how did I get on at Treehouse? I was doing corporate training. So if you don't know what corporate training is where a company like, Microsoft says, okay, we've got these employees that need to learn Python. And so they go to a training company or to someone who's known for training, and they go, hey, we want you to come out here for a week and teach these 20 employees Python. So you'd go out to Redmond, and you'd spend a week teaching Python to those employees, and then you'd go home, and you get paid for it. So I was doing that, and it was really neat. It was a lot of fun. I got to go teach at Intel. I got to go teach at Facebook. And it was really neat and fun to do, but it was a lot of travel. I had a fairly young son at the time, and it wasn't fun leaving my wife home alone with the kids and having to deal with that, and just, it was a lot of travel. So a friend of mine, she told me, she's like, hey, Treehouse is hiring, they're looking for a Python teacher, you ought to apply. And so I did, and got in. Did my demo reel and went, and people liked it. So Humanoid says, how about JavaScript frameworks? Do you have a preference? I have not been in the JavaScript game in forever. So I don't necessarily have a preference. Normally I would reach for like jQuery to do JavaScript stuff, but that seems to not be in vogue anymore. And I don't really see jQuery as being a framework, more just kind of a library. I spent part of last week, this past week, playing with React in preparation for what I want to do over the next few weeks. So React seems pretty cool. I like it a lot so far, but I can't say one way or the other. They all seem okay. And then Humanoid also wants to know why I'm going part-time to Windows. Because I can. I don't know. Windows isn't that bad. Windows 10 is actually pretty good. And I'm going to... my plan is to start spending a decent chunk of my time in Windows. I feel like Apple is making some bad decisions lately. And I don't want to run Linux full-time. I've done that before. It was fine. I don't want to do it now, though. I like my life to be a little simpler. So in order to make my life simpler, I'm not going to be running 3 different OSs. I'm going to have Mac, Windows, and Android. So, woo, go me. But yeah, I want to do it. So, yeah. Okay. All right, and then Dynamics. It's not that I don't like PHP. PHP's fine. PHP is the primary and first language for a huge amount of people, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. PHP is a fine language. Amazing things have been built in PHP. It's just not a language that I want to write for most of my life, or for even just most of my work time. I would rather write languages that I find to be more enjoyable. So PHP is a great language, it's just not a language for me. I'm the same with, like, C, right? Like C is a great language. C++ is a great language. But they're not languages that I want to spend all my time writing. So, life is short. You should write the languages you enjoy. And yeah, Marine, I am going to start streaming from Windows as well. It won't be right away. It won't be like next week is on Windows. But probably within a month, I will start doing at least some streams on Windows. And my idea, if you missed the beginning of the stream, I'll cover this right now before I go. Over the next few weeks, month and a half, 2 months, however long it takes, we, all together, we're going to build a large amount of connected code. So we're going to start by making a Django website. So basic, everyday Django website, right? HTML on the front, Django admin in the back, and it's going to do something. I got a couple of ideas, but if you have ideas for what to do on this, send me your ideas, especially once I get a little further into this. You'll see kind of what I mean. So Django site, we're going to build that. Then we're going to go and we're going to take the Django site and we're going to build an API from it using Django REST framework. So we have the site, but we also have an API available with all the same data and all the same functionality, or as much as possible, for using it without having to be on the website. Then we're going to take a step back and we're going to go build a JavaScript like single-page application, probably using React, that uses the API instead of using the website. Oops, hit my mic. So that's at least a couple of weeks of work because I don't know React. So we get to learn it together. Yay, us. So then, once that's done, my plan is to build, either using React Native, Beware, or native code. We're going to build like an Android app that uses the API. I might build like a Windows app or a Mac app that use the API as well. And yeah, we'll just build this stuff all together. Now, what makes this really cool is I'm going to make sure and post all of this to GitHub. It's going to have an open source license. And all of you can contribute code. You can contribute issues. You can go, hey, this thing's broken. This doesn't work. You can help me plan out what's going to go where and how we're going to do stuff. So that's my plan for the next few weeks. And what I want to do is I may do 2 or 3 weeks where I'm working on Mac, when I'm working on my Mac right here, and we're working on this project. And then I may do 2 or 3 weeks in Windows working on the exact same project. So the idea is to kind of explore how we can write code no matter where we are. I'm not going to try and write code on my Android phone or like an iPad or something, but whether I'm in Windows, whether I'm on my Mac, whether I'm whatever, I can write code, right? And we can make stuff work. So if you're excited about that, let me know. I think that's a really fun, neat thing to try and do. And I think it'll be cool. I think we'll end up building an interesting project, even if it doesn't all come together, because let's face it, this is a live stream. It may not all work. It's still kind of cool building this thing over multiple weeks all together. So I hope you'll all watch. I hope you'll watch reliably on that. And yeah, so let's see. One more look at chat before I say goodbye. Could you post the live stream notifications on Treehouse? No. Our notifications on Treehouse are based on app things. So when we publish a course or whatever, I can't just send them out because of this. But if you subscribe to the YouTube channel, there's so if you're on YouTube, there's a little thing that says subscribe. If you click that, we show up like on your YouTube page. But next to the thing that says subscribe, there's a bell, like a bell that you'd ring. If you click that, you will get emails from YouTube whenever we go live. So that's probably the easiest way to do that. And yeah, I am done coding, just so you know. All right, so that's it for chat. That's it for me for today. So glad to have you all here. Thanks for tuning in for our first stream of 2017. Next week, we will start, most likely, fingers crossed, on our big giant project. So send me ideas on Twitter or by email. And yeah, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I'll monitor chat for a little bit longer. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. So thanks so much for tuning in. And this is